Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Eric.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. You know, we tell people all the time, follow us on Instagram at It's The Real, Facebook, whatever, It's The Real.
It's at It's The Real. Why are you...
I'm not on
suddenly,
Facebook.
like-
I'm just saying, what are we? What are we really?
At It's The Real. None of this is difficult.
Twitter, we're at It's The Real. But here's why I bring this up, Jeff, because now do we have to warn people, if you're going to follow us on Twitter, understand the content is strictly about documentaries.
Well, okay, you're saying that because I've been tweeting about documentaries.
Yeah.
I'm not tweeting about other things, and you're just like, hey, you want to know what? Follow us for intelligence about documentaries.
No, just documentary talk.
Yeah, just documentary talk.
If you're looking for us.
But Wale really led the way, because Wale gave up on talking about rap, talking about wrestling, talking about whatever else.
Yeah.
Now he's strictly talking about food, mostly
That's it.
ramen and pho.
Pho.
Mostly ramen and pho.
Yeah.
Also, I think halal maybe, but
Okay.
mostly ramen and pho.
Yeah. Pho out of here, you know?
Yeah. And so, I'm talking about documentaries. We just saw the one with Wu-Tang
It's a great documentary.
of Mikes and Men on Showtime.
Yep. 4-part series directed by Sasha Jenkins from the Ego Trip Collective.
And it's great. There's some ups, there's some downs.
Yeah.
There's way more members of Wu-Tang than you might remember.
You know what? I was surprised because there were less than I remember.
Well, yes, sure.
I remember names that I can't even imagine right now.
Yeah, like Jerry,
Yes.
the biologist or whatever.
He's my favorite member of Wu-Tang. It actually makes me think that a year and a half ago, whenever Grammys was in New York, the Roots were performing all week long. They had a residency at the Gramercy Theater, and we went to go check it out and say hi to people and enjoy the festivities.
Well, we were there not just like one or two. We were there all week.
We were there. We had a residency.
We had a
At
residency
the Gramercy Theater with the Roots.
The Roots happened to be there.
Yeah, and one of the nights we were approached by UGOD's manager. UGOD's manager, I guess we had met previously.
Sure.
And he came up and was like, hey, here is a signed galley copy of UGOD's upcoming book called Raw, about his time in Wu-Tang and all the behind-the-scenes drama, the ups and downs. And I want you guys to have this.
And UGOD was not on board. Could not have been less
UGOD
on
was
board.
like, why do these guys deserve it? And
UGOD was so not on board, he was on a different board.
To the manager's credit, he was like, Eric and Jeff, It's The Real. They've done a lot of great things.
Right. He listed like our whole resume, and
was
UGOD
wonderful.
was just like, this is my book. This is my only book.
Yeah.
It's my only copy of the book. Don't fuck it up.
And by the way, I did not fuck it up. I held on to that thing like it was gold. I also looked like a student. I was there at the concert with my book.
You looked very smart.
It felt like after school. But here's the thing, Jeff. I'm going to admit this right now. In that year and a half or however long it's been, I have not read that book. It just sits there behind you on that bookshelf.
Well, all of our books are fake.
So maybe UGOD was right.
That we didn't deserve it.
We didn't deserve it.
I'll say this about UGOD. He comes off so well in the documentary. So great. He is one of the stars of the documentary. I also saw Capadonna. I would say that he is one of the stars. I mean, like, it's...
Who's not a star? They're all stars.
Who's not a star of documentary?
Maybe RZA looks a little worse off. Maybe a little more controlling. Divine, maybe.
Divine does not...
comes off a little bad. But
also, I feel like Divine is a little misunderstood. I feel like...
Sure.
You want to know what?
I'm not wrong.
The cops of Staten Island do not come off great.
Giuliani.
Yeah, Giuliani does not come off great.
Yeah, but these, again, not surprises.
No, but I feel like if you're looking for a surprise Giuliani turn, then I would just look at our current administration, how this dude is just like, you want to know what? Fuck it. Let's go to the Ukraine and get some help over there to see what happens with Trump.
Nuts. Just that's, I guess they're both truth, but 2019 truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah. Just
anyway,
this stupid world.
Go check out that documentary. What were the other ones we've seen?
Because we're not playing favorites with our premium cable channels, we also saw the upcoming Muhammad Ali documentary.
Where can you find that, Jeff?
On HBO.
There you go.
Subscribe to everything.
I believe that debuts tomorrow or today, whenever you're listening to this, the 14th of May.
Yeah.
It's called What's My Name? And
it is so good.
It's great.
Again, not a surprise that a Muhammad Ali documentary directed by Antoine Fuqua would be amazing.
You know who comes off poorly in that.
The Staten Island cops.
Giuliani.
Oh, yeah.
No, do check that out. What's really cool about the way that one was put together is that it was told via all of Muhammad Ali's actual
social media
interviews. Yeah, it's just tweets read out loud. Shout out to everyone behind that: LeBron, Maverick Carter, Robot, Spring Hill,
the whole gang, all of
HBO.
our friends.
You know,
LeBron.
Really excellent. Really, really great and important and timeless. Go check that out. Go check out Of Mics and Men.
Yep.
And any other documentaries you should pay attention to right now?
I always like the documentaries that are on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Just in general?
I love a good Netflix documentary.
Do you want to get into Wale's lane and talk about some ramen right now?
I want to talk about some pho.
Jeff?
No, I actually, by the way, and this is pulling back the curtain a little bit.
Yes.
It's 3:30 and we're recording this.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten all day and I could really use some ramen.
Or?
Well, I don't know where there's a good a good place to get around us, but I would happily get some ramen.
Okay. Will you promise to update us as to how this progresses next week?
Oh, I thought you were going to say like as we do this whole intro.
Yeah.
Outro? Sure.
Do you want to do like a half an hour thing where you go out and you come back with the food and say, it's fine?
Yeah.
Jeff, who's on the podcast today?
Today on the podcast is our friend Ciesay.
Ciesay from Places Plus Faces.
Places and Faces.
It is not
how
just
we humans normally call it. We usually call it Places and Faces, not Places Plus Faces.
He says Plus Faces.
Does he really?
He does. So
oh my God.
I know.
Oh,
there
no.
you go, Jeff. Anyway,
yeah.
Ciesay, he's not just a photographer. He's not just a clothing designer. A lot of people, including us, use this is a movement in sort of glowing terms, and a lot of the times it's not really meant in that way.
What, like a movement is like a bowel movement? Like a BM?
No, it's like inertia.
Oh, yeah.
This is
just a sluggish pace.
What they have built is really extraordinary. I'm sure you've seen their clothes around. I'm sure you've been to their concerts. I'm sure that you have felt what they have brought to the table, whether it's photographs of Kanye or Drake or the ASAPs or just putting on shows around the world, in Tokyo, in London, in New York, and maybe, just maybe,
they might let us come to Brazil.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is we get into the details of how you build a brand.
Yes.
Or rather, how they build their brand. And what's cool about that is that Ciesay and his partner Souls have built this brand in a truly
in a smart way.
Smart way, yeah.
I think that's the way to put it, where it's, they built it up step by step, but they also knocked down a bunch of things on the way.
Shout out to Ciesay and Souls. Great dudes, great brand.
So British.
Very, very British, although maybe less
Ciesay,
British than you think.
Yeah, Ciesay is less British than I thought.
A fantastic episode. Jeff, when do you want to get into it?
Right now.
Yo, what up? It's Eric, a.k.a. Wrist on Froze, a.k.a. Arthritis.
Yo, what up? It's Chef, a.k.a. Off-White, a.k.a. in rehab.
Yo, it's a.k.a.
Here's your third favorite podcast to waste time with. It's The Real. Ciesay, what's happening?
What's good? I'm Ciesay from Places Plus Faces.
Oh, now you want to say it. Yeah.
Let's build it up. Yeah. Let them know straight away. Not Tony Stark here.
Right, exactly. So, well, listen, you've done superhuman things since you landed in New York City a couple days ago.
Indeed.
We were talking on text, and you were like, I'm so sorry I didn't respond right away, but I've run around more for this show than I ever have in your whole career.
Yes.
Why was that?
Okay, so...
Because you've done shows around the world.
Yeah.
Why was this one different?
This one is different because we were like 100% more hands-on and like, Boardroom, like great people, but we had to kind of like push things with them to make sure everything was right. Even like last night at the show, there was a couple like things, like a couple problems behind the scenes that no one really saw. Everyone saw like a great time, but like behind the scenes there was a lot of shit from the guest list to like just like artists getting paid, all of that stuff. But everything kind of worked out. But the running around, like I got there at like 6 for sound check, thinking I could, go out, hang out, maybe even watch a movie, then come back.
No.
6 till 3 basically.
Oh
so
my God.
it was a lot.
And Dipset actually showed up.
actually showed up. Yeah, because then like we got this text saying, Dipset are gonna pull up in buses. And, like there's these pictures like I think like Jim Jones came from like a proper bus.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, are they really gonna pull up though? Like like Dipset, like I love Dipset. But
Yeah.
Are they really gonna come?
Not the most reliable.
I mean, hey, I remember there was this Cameron show. It was like I think it was like 5 years ago. He came to London. He was at the hotel. He was doing interviews and everything, doing press, and he just never pulled up to the show.
Oh yeah.
Like Skepta like opened for the show. He did great, and then just Cameron never pulled up.
So Skepta was the headliner then. Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
It's a Skepta show.
Yeah. Years ago, when we were doing sketches every week, we were at SOBs. And Joey IE was working at Asylum at the time, and he walked up to us and he was like, I love your guys' stuff. Would you ever want to have Cameron on the show? And we were like, yes, it's been a dream of ours to get him on the show and do that. And he was like, cool. And we tried to arrange a time, and then we found one that worked. He was like, if you don't show up in the next 20 minutes, Cam's going to get on a flight and you'll never see him again.
Wow.
And we ran down there, shot the sketch. Like, he was amazing. And it ended up being a legendary like achievement for us.
Yeah.
And
our most popular video.
And a dope thing for him. And if we didn't like hustle down there in those 20 minutes and take him seriously, it would have never happened.
Yeah, I remember even seeing this. I remember like Supreme opened their first store in Paris, and they booked Cameron to perform, and then he performed, but his mic cut out, and then it was like I mean it was like 5 minutes of silence. Then he was just like over it. They just left. And then, like, all you see in his Instagram is like him and like I think he was with Juju at the time, like by the Eiffel Tower.
Oh
just
yeah,
like doing what Cameron does.
Yeah.
Every time everyone was like, oh what the fuck,
not performing.
Yeah. It was the worst.
So when you approached that, did you have that in the back of your head?
That he might not, because of those two experiences that I've seen, I was thinking, damn, is he really gonna show up? Because Jim Jones posted it like on his Instagram, so I was like, okay, Jim Jones, he's probably gonna do it. You know? But then Cameron didn't even post it. I don't think, maybe he did. I didn't check his Instagram, but I was kind of like, okay, like if he doesn't, then everyone's gonna be like, Paisley's is whack. They showed us a fake party. Cameron and Jim Jones didn't even perform, and then it was the last time I do a party in New York, and I've been Paisley is over in New York. So
no, they touched that stage and they torched that stage, and it was a great night.
Yeah,
it was a great night.
Yeah. Jay Critch did not show up, but then you did get somebody
Flipped an Arrow.
Flipped an Arrow. We brought Amine and
that was dope too. Yeah.
Shout out to Booba Savage.
I thought last night's show was perfect the entire time that we were there, except for one thing.
What's that?
And this is your fault.
Oh my God.
You were on the decks.
Yes.
You were spinning, and you played A$AP Rocky and Skepta, and your fellow countryman couldn't get his entire verse.
Cut it off?
Mixed it out, blended it. How dare you?
No, you don't have to talk about it. It's
That's
okay.
fine. Yeah.
No, we'll just sit here and
in
shame
silence.
you.
That's exactly right.
I owe my country a great dissatisfaction. I owe the Queen an apology.
Yeah.
Fuck Theresa May.
Look at this proper British accent
I
you're
know.
doing to try and win everybody back.
Can you apologize to some other people from your country, like Adele?
Sorry, Adele.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you apologize to James Corden?
I don't like James Corden.
Yes.
Wow.
Neither do I.
I like, because have you ever seen James Corden when he used to be like a comedian, like a TV show?
I try not
When he
to.
used to be a comedian on a TV show.
Well, not like a live TV show.
So
like,
rude.
Like what was the show? Gavin and Stacey. There's on the show. Let me quickly Google it.
Yeah.
There's a show called Gavin and Stacey, and he was on that show, and that's when he was cool. But now he's just like Piers Morgan. They're all doing that whole.
Piers Morgan should apologize to us, by the way.
Well, yeah.
You know?
He should apologize to Ciesay for being racist.
There he is. Gavin and Stacey.
Gavin
Yeah.
and Stacey.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that tracksuit.
I know, right?
Barely hanging on.
By a thread. A loose thread.
Overall, you had a good night?
Great night.
Have you slept?
Yeah. What'd you do after?
Because we're right now recording 6 hours after the night ended.
I roamed the streets basically. Like I was literally just like roaming around like the Lower East Side, and I walked like through Manhattan. I think I even walked to Times Square.
Well, it's a beautiful day out.
Yeah.
So,
Are you okay?
I know, yeah.
Do we have to worry about you?
No, I'm great.
Is this one of those things where it's like I have no place to stay?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like just walk around till like it's time for me to imaginary check-in.
That's right. Yeah.
And feel like I have somewhere to go, but no.
Listen, it saves you on hotel fees,
Yeah,
right?
I know, right? Just like hop on the train, just like sit on the train to like each stop back and forth. I feel like you can make a couple time over that.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from London,
What part?
Southeast London.
Okay.
So this isn't like a bit that you're from New Jersey and you're just like doing a put on for I don't know,
Mark
several years.
Ronson?
Yeah.
No, I'm a Londoner, born and raised West African.
Yeah.
Born in London.
Do you love Southeast London?
I love it's the best part of London.
Why?
Just because like all like the dope rappers came from Southeast London or South London, and just like the cultures in South London. Like East London's cool. North London is like where you have the skeptics and stuff, but like South London, I feel is like where the culture really is in London.
What rappers came up around your time? Like who did you know about, like maybe before they popped off, that you were like, wow, they're really talented and I see something in them?
Rappers before my time. Wait, what age are we talking about?
Like just growing up.
Just growing up. Because you know what? I lived in London until I was 7. Then I moved to Gambia, which is in West Africa, until I was 13. Then I came back. So when I was young, I literally grew up on reggae music and Master P.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's weird. My dad like has all like the Master P by CDs. Like I even have like the CD when Snoop Dogg was signed.
Oh yeah, that's a great one, by the way.
Yeah, like have all those albums. So like
paid the cost to be the boss.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I had all of those albums. Like I was listening to like 8 Ball and MJG, like British music. I never really listened to until I went back to London when I was 13, and that's when like Dizzy Rascal had that It's Just a Rascal song and all that stuff. So I grew up listening more to American music and reggae than actually British music.
Did your friends get it? Did your friends like get into Southern rap as
like
well?
Memphis rap and or were you just like the one who had
I
this
was
thing?
that one weirdo because when I came to London, like everybody was like, yeah, Dizzy Rascal, yeah, Wiley, and I'm there like, Master P, 8 Ball, MJG, Mace.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this guy is weird. Coming straight from Africa back into London, like I was wearing like Jordans and stuff, and because like in Africa they love like American culture and stuff, so like Jordans and all this. I used to have like Sean Carter's when like Jay-Z did those like,
the Reebok shoes.
I had those. I had like G-Unit sneakers where like you'd spin the logo on the
Hell
shoes.
yeah.
Like, well, they probably were fake, but
that's all right. That's all right.
They're still sick shoes. So I had all of that stuff. So I came back to London thinking I was fly and fresh. People were like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like they used to call my Jordans moon shoes. That's how bad it was. And now obviously everyone loves Jordans. Back in the day, they weren't like the Jordans that people wear for going out. They're like the proper basketball Jordans, like the ones that people play on the court. So people were like, damn, those are ugly shoes. But I thinking, no, these are Michael Jordans, like not the ones that we want.
Cool. Why did you move down to Gambia?
Just because like my family like would travel a lot, and like it was a thing of my mom was like, oh, I'm going to Gambia for like a couple of weeks, and I was like, oh, can I come? Thinking I'd be there for like 2-3 weeks. Ended up being 6 years. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like I'm there, and then I was like, okay, I'll stay for a year. Cool. And then I'm thinking, oh, when is the time to go back? They're like, no, you're having so much fun. Like, just stay for a little bit longer. I'm like, all right, cool. Then all my friends are thinking, like in Gambia, they're like, oh, when you're going back home? I'm going back soon. I'm never going to unpack my suitcase because, I'll be gone. And then after like 4 years, like, you're not leaving, bro.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, oh, cool. I went to school there, had a proper education. And then on the 6th year, when I'm finally settling, probably finding a wife and ready to settle down and have a kid, they're like, okay, you're moving back to London now. I was like, okay, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you finally like situate yourself and you feel like you're at home.
Yeah.
And then does your world get turned upside down in moving back to London?
Oh yeah, it was just like, not to say it was like a culture shock, but just like going back to London, and then like I said, like all like the new wave of music and all that came out, so I had to like catch up with everyone. Like I was like, this is when like everyone had a Nokia like 3310s and stuff. So like I'm like on like AZ lyrics, like learning the lyrics to the words so I could go in school, because like everyone used to rap in school too.
Yeah.
So then I used to like come and try like freestyle as well, like, but because I had like this weird, like my accent's super weird because it's not a British accent, but it's not like an American accent, but it's not an African accent either. It's just like all these accents mashed up into each other. So I was always that weird guy with like the funny accent in school too. So it's just like, like I'm trying to like do the British thing, but I'm like, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Let everyone just do their thing.
What kinds of American culture were touching Gambia when you were growing up there?
All right, cool. So the Nelly and Kelly song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Swear to God, that song in Gambia, this is said that was like the national anthem. Like that song would get played every day, like on radio. I don't know why that song was so popular in Gambia, but they literally said this song is the national anthem for Gambia. And then when I think about that song, I remember when like she had her phone and I think she was like texting, but it was like Microsoft
Excel. Yeah, exactly.
So that was like the funniest thing. But that song was like a big thing. Like 50 Cent, like he was always like one of the biggest like artists, even in Africa. Like 50 Cent is like the guy, because like he's the true like gangster image, you know. Like he had like the vest on and he had the chain, the bulletproof vest, even the album cover. So like Get Rich or Die Trying was like
huge,
one of the main albums that I listened to. And well, it's like P Diddy, obviously like Mace as well, like obviously like Biggie and Tupac. Like everybody would have like their like theories, like, yeah, no, Biggie's better, Tupac's better, did he really kill X?
Yeah.
It's like a funny thing, but yeah, like that. So like in music, that was like the biggest, like I guess, trends, those type of acts. And
any TV or movies?
TV movies, like that Nick Cannon movie when he was like a drummer.
Drumline?
Oh, yeah.
That was a good movie that we watched. Anything like Kill Bill was like one of my favorite movies. I remember watching that on bootleg. That was fire.
So there wasn't like much of a divide in terms of like culture.
Like,
Yeah.
It was literally like everything's pretty much similar, because even like cars, like people drive like Cadillac Escalades, and I've never seen a Cadillac Escalade in London because the roads are too small. But like in like Africa, like if you're like rich, like a lot of people like were super wealthy, so their kids would actually be like, oh, look at that car in this movie, and then their parents should just buy it because they just have the money to afford it. You know, my parents can afford it, but you know, I just hop in there because a guy had a gold Cadillac. I've never seen that, like a gold painted Cadillac. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And that's life. Life was fun in Gambia.
Yeah. Well, what'd your parents do?
My dad owned like a trucking business that would like import and export stuff, and my mom, she used to work for the UN at the time. Well, she still does, but not as much as she does now. But
doing what?
She was like a human rights lawyer.
Wow.
So she like go to like different countries around the world and just help women get like better rights. So she was like in like Afghanistan, Liberia, Uganda, Sudan.
Oh my God.
Sierra Leone, like a lot of like countries. So.
Yeah. And
what a noble profession.
Yeah. Is there any, I mean, obviously it's not like a vacation, but like, did you go on any of those trips?
Yeah, so I went to a lot of the countries she went to, if not maybe at least like 80%. I think the only place I didn't go to was Afghanistan, but she had the time of her life. She said she went like skiing over there because it's like close to the mountain, so it's like part where like you can proper like ski and stuff, and then she rode like camels and stuff. But I went to Liberia, I went to Sierra Leone, I went to Uganda. I went to Kosovo. Yeah, that was like when I was super young. That was like, it was so weird. It was in Kosovo. They had never really seen black people before, only on TV. So like had everyone taking pictures of me. Like,
wow, you were
weird.
like the gold Escalade.
Yeah.
Literally like the savior. Basically, it looks at me like, wow, a black man in Kosovo, they exist. You know, it was like hilarious. But
what did you see? What did you take back with you after you went to all of these areas around the world where there were human rights violations or war or just atrocities?
I mean, like going back and then like seeing like all these places. Obviously, I was like super young, but it just made me like appreciate humans more. I feel like even moving to Gambia, I feel like there's like with Africans, and even like not even Africans, with like people that are raised with parents that are like first like generation parents, they have a little bit more of like a respect for like their cultures and their parents. Like, you know, I moved back to London, I'm seeing like these kids talk back to their mom, like the mom's like, come here, like fuck you mom, or like the mom saying to me, yeah, go to the shop, and no mom, you fucking do it. I'm thinking, damn, if I ever said that, I'm gonna beat the shit out of me. Like, what the fuck? And then just seeing that just made me realize that like there's so much respect gained because you're like amongst people that might not necessarily have as much as you do, but they still cherish what they have and they make use of what they have. And if they can do that with so little, then people with like so much who just like kind of waste their way, it's not really like a good thing. So for me, it's just like I just learned to, you know, appreciate more and just like not take life for granted and just kind of do as much as I can while I can.
So your passport was just like filled at a young age.
Up. Yeah, you know, we had all the stamps, and yeah, like now it's cool that, you know, like I grew up traveling and then I still like continue to travel, and that's like one of the best things I would say that about my life is that I just get to travel.
Are you an aisle or a window guy?
I'm an aisle just because like I need more like leg room on like the outside, but however, when I'm like pushing my leg out, I always get hit.
By the carts.
Yeah, so like I'm like trying to sleep and get hit, and I don't even say sorry. It's like just hit you and I keep going, and I'm looking at the woman like, come on, and she's like, Wow. So I hate that. Like window's cool if you want to see like the nice landscape. When you go pee, you have to kind of like
climb over everyone.
Yeah,
not
like,
for that.
Nah, you have to be like, oh, excuse me, oh, and then that one person in the aisle has to wait for you because they don't want to sit down and then get back up, so they're waiting for you, and then you just kind of go through and
yeah, and God forbid you go to the wrong side, get in their way again. Just not for me. No. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have a little sister, yeah.
And did she travel as well?
She did, but
you didn't leave her in London?
No, she was in boarding school most of the time. So
really?
She went to like boarding school in like South Africa and stuff like that. But she's moved back to London now.
So you guys didn't exactly like grow up together like all the time?
Yeah, not all the time. No, just because like my mom, she was always traveling, and my dad too, because he was like back and forth in London. And when I moved back to London at like 13, 14, they were kind of like, well, you're a good kid, so they kind of just left me in the house by myself, and then I'd like cook food for myself, and like set myself to go to school. So like I properly lived by myself. When I say 15, that's when I was like just completely by myself.
Holy cow!
But my sister, she's 6 years younger than me, so obviously she'd be like 9 or something. So she had to go to like other boarding schools and all that. And then when she got to an age, she moved back to London, and now we live together.
So when you moved back to London, are you meeting up with the same kids that you knew when you were 7 years old?
No.
So totally new friend base.
Yeah, a lot of those kids became racist. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah, it was just
became racist or were racist?
Became racist because like when we were growing up, like we all go to the same school and we were cool, but then I feel like life just kind of like changed them to a point. I had this one friend, he was like this guy called Charlie, so this ginger guy. He was like my best friend when I was young, and then when I moved back to London, he looked like one of those like people you see in like Green Street who were like, yeah, come on, fucking have it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to like hit you up anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think like it's just like people like experience different shit in life, and like I feel like when you grow up as well, like your parents and stuff, like if they don't really teach you certain things, then I feel like you just kind of drift into a certain crowd, and obviously there's peer pressure, and so.
When was the first time that you traveled on your own?
Traveled on my own. Probably the New York trip when I started Place in like 2013. There's like random guy on Facebook that hit me up, and I was like, yo, I'm your dad's cousin. If you ever want to come to New York, come stay with me. And I booked my ticket like the next week. Like, okay, cool. Pulled up. I was supposed to stay for over 2 weeks. I ended up staying for 3 months.
Well, you are bad with like, how long am I going to be staying here?
yeah.
Turns into 6 years, yeah.
There we are. So,
wait, okay, randomly hit you up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Says he's related to you.
Yeah, how do you know that he actually...
I was like confirmed. I'm not going to, we had the same last name.
Oh, all right.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, no, obviously.
We have the same last name.
I was like, so Dad, is he legit? He's like, yeah, that's your dad. Yeah, that's your cousin. Because, my dad, like, his dad was like a super huge polygamist. So I probably have like 30 to 50 uncles and cousins and aunts spread around the world. So whenever someone hits me up, and then I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, free place to stay wherever you go. Yeah.
Like, they just had like free.
You just have to go with them, believe it that they're related.
So it was cool. Like I stayed there, and that was when like everything was kind of happening in New York. I feel like that was like the new birth of like culture and just like the new wave of everything. Like that's when the internet like really like expanded, like from Twitter to Instagram. That's when everything was just kind of like, it's like the Big Bang, like when Thanos snapped his fingers. That's when everything just kind of changed from like, like
or disappeared.
Exactly, or disappeared. So, like, like the ASAPs, they were like properly like coming into formula. Like Ferg just dropped Shabba, and I remember when like the whole mob did that Funk Flex freestyle.
Yeah.
I remember when Travis Scott had his first show with SOBs, and then he had a Boiler Room with Ferg and Travis at Mike Dean's apartment.
Yes, we were there.
Yeah.
I was there too.
Yeah, right
where
on.
Travis was yelling at people for not turning up enough and like hanging off a chandelier, and I was, my Jewish nervousness was just like, please don't hang on the chandelier.
Yeah.
And then I remember
not
he was like
yours.
pointing to people to like hold him off your crowd stuff.
Yeah.
And he pointed to me, and I looked at him like, I'm not gonna be that guy on a boiler room camera sweating, holding up this guy's like jeans. Like, I was not gonna be that guy.
That was good foresight on your part,
By the way, Mike Dean's neighbors hated him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Had to have.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now they live in California where they don't have to deal with their neighbors. But back then, when you moved from Gambia to London, and you're a teenager, who are you?
I was like still into I was a big like video gamer. Like Metal Gear Solid is still like my favorite game. and like Call of Duty. I was like the typical like just kid that loved video games. And
Wait,
movies.
Call of Duty? You had like the headset?
Oh yeah.
Maybe you were racist.
Yeah, one of those guys. Everyone just like on the thing. I'm just there like, yeah, I don't want to say that word, but yeah. I was like super into like video games. I still am, but not as much as I like. So, like Mortal Kombat, I just like play that religiously.
Who's your character?
On Mortal Kombat, Scorpion, Liu Kang, or Raiden. Those are my top 3. How about you?
Oh, I don't have one.
Yeah. Were you heavy online?
Yeah.
So were you messing with like what was around at that MySpace or?
Oh yeah, I had a MySpace. I had like a Bebo as well. Like the MySpace. My MySpace had like, what did I have on my MySpace? I don't know. I had like a lot of Soulja Boy on my MySpace.
Was he in your top 8?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, Soulja Boy.
Were you in his top 8?
No, all right.
I don't think
Did you contact anyone through MySpace, like, and like get a response?
No, I don't.
No.
I wasn't that cool at
Yeah.
that time. No, I was just a random nobody.
And what about Tumblr? Did you get into Tumblr?
Yeah, I had a Tumblr, and then I think I had this picture of when like Tyler Creator first came to London, and then they had like a pop up, and I went to the store, and then like he signed my hat, and yeah.
Someone took a picture of that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
And that's the only Tumblr picture I had.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never used Tumblr after that until I started Places Faces.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So when you came to New York, how are you getting into events?
I used to lie. I used to like tell people I worked for Vice. That was like the easiest thing to say. Like Vice was like super popping those days. It's still popping now, but like saying you work for Vice, then like you can get into anywhere.
Yeah.
I used to literally like, because obviously like I said, I have a fucked up accent. So it's like tune my accent to the best British accent I can think of. Like I was just thinking of like Snatch and all those movies.
Yeah.
Just tuning it, fine tuning. And be like, yeah, hello mate. Yeah, I've just been flown in from London. I am, I'm just working for Alex. Vice has sent me here. And then all the people are hearing is Vice and London.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, wow, our event is that big. That they've sent someone from Vice all the way here. No, we're doing something right. And I'm just there like, yeah. Like I'm in there like taking all these photos. So like I literally got into like 95% of venues, and these were like big shows too, because I remember there was like weird show where it was like, I think it was like a Budweiser thing, but like Ice Cube was a part of it, and like I think Big Sean as well, and I used to like finesse and go into that event. There was like a bunch. Let me think, what else was there? I think there was like a 2 Chainz like release party for like his first album or second album, I can't remember. Everyone went to the box, and then Cameron was at the box.
Yeah.
I remember that show. That was a wild show.
So are you going in there like with your camera, quote unquote, as a photographer?
Yeah. As a videographer, because I started taking videos, Souls was always the photographer. I never really, I never thought I could take pictures, so I just did videos, and then my laptop wouldn't let me edit videos, it broke, so what I could do was take pictures. So I took some pictures, and then I'd send them to Souls. So because of the time difference, I'd go to an event, it ends at 3, I'd send it to Souls, because like the 6-hour time difference would be 9 a.m. in London, and by the time I sleep and wake up, he sent me back the like edited photos. This is when we used to edit photos when I had a digital camera, before I probably started getting into film. So he edited the photos, sent it back to me. They were like the worst like edits, by the way. They were the worst.
You guys didn't have the same vision.
Yeah, they have the same vision. We were just like filtering, like when how Instagram had the like sepia filter. We were on that wave basically.
Let me look like it's 1850.
There's this one like picture of Ferg that I took, and it literally looked like it was like a barbecued photo. Like she was like,
did you put on you stacked filters? So it'd be like Cupertino and
it
Cupertino.
was all these like random effects. But
do you have the raw files now?
Yeah, we still have the.
Oh, that's dope.
I lost my laptop like 2 years ago, and I lost a lot of photos. But
did Kanye's cousin steal it?
Find that guy. Yeah, I lost a lot of photos. Even like these like set of photos I took of Drake. I remember like I did like a random shoot of Drake, and like I posted one, but I had like these 7 photos that I didn't back up in time, and then my laptop got stolen, and that's the last time ever.
I heard that you had a thing with DMX.
Oh yeah, I don't know where you heard that story.
Streets are talking.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Streets are talking.
Yeah, Jeff heard it in Yonkers.
Yeah.
So basically, there was this. I remember something to do with Eminem. I think it was releasing something, or he did a show, and it was like an after party at this club. I can't remember what club it was, but So like I'm chilling, I'm about to like go inside, and DMX pulls up, and it's like he's fresh out of jail, so like he's like proper like aggro and everything, and then like this girl, she's like, yo, X, can I take a photo of him? I'm a big fan. He's like, all right, cool. And then like she stands next to him, and then someone's like taking a photo of her. Then after she's like, oh, can I get a selfie? He was like, what the fuck's that? And then she like points the phone, and then he's like, all right, cool. Then she tries to do a kissy face, and he was like, what the fuck? She's like, what the fuck? I don't want to do this photo no more. All right, get the fuck away. And she goes in, and then like I'm in the club. And then he's like walking through, and then he's like walking past, and he looks straight at me like what the fuck are you doing? I'm just kind of like, and I ended up taking a picture as I just left that event. Like Eminem didn't even pull up. I only went there for Eminem, but he didn't even show. I was pissed.
Damn, he's on that Cameron shit.
Yeah.
So you're just going around to all these events, talking your way in, and taking pictures and enjoying the vibe. Do you get to know people in New York City? Are you then a known entity as a photographer?
Yeah. So I think for me, at that time, my advantage was that I was from London, because like people, because I would approach people and I'll be like, yeah, I'm from London, and then
people think you're important.
Yeah, exactly. Being from London, the Britain, the Queen, the sovereign.
Sure, yeah. Right.
We're from kings and queens. We have a little bit of royalty there. Shout out to Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
There's some top dogs out there. So then they'd like see me, and then being there for 3 months, and then I'm like at nearly every event, and I'm kind of like, oh, this guy from London. Then they'd come to London, and be like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm from London. Oh shit, that photographer from New York that's in London, but from London. I'm like, well, yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. So what are you doing here? Oh, I'm from London. And then they'll see me in like Japan or something. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Oh, well, I have my own thing going on, but you have your thing. So then it became like a familiarity thing where they just keep seeing me, and then it's kind of like hard not to miss me. I'm like a 6'4" guy.
Yeah.
So then it was just like, okay, from being like, oh, you're that guy from London, to being, oh, cool, you're the photographer that takes dope photos. Oh, yo, this is Ciesay, he takes cool photos and from London. Then it just became like, oh, we're all friends, being... Because it's been 6 years now, so a lot of these artists, like I said, we all kind of came up at like a similar time. Like I said, like Travis Scott, his first ever show in New York at that time. The ASAP Mob guys were just running the city, Big Sean, all these guys. So it was just like, me seeing them a lot and then taking pictures. And then as they grew bigger, I was documenting like their like rise to where they are now. And then it's been like a nice journey.
At a certain point, you start to attain an audience off of this thing.
Yeah.
And what were the plans in going into that, and how did that actually begin?
Well, we made the Tumblr, but we didn't even make it for like, we just made it because we took pictures and just wanted to put them somewhere. It wasn't necessarily like, we didn't look at that time, we didn't look at Place Faces like becoming like a big thing. We literally said, okay, we're gonna, whatever 9 to 5s we had, we'll just do those, and then we'll go to concerts and take pictures and put them on the site. It was just like a hobby thing rather than looking at it like, okay, we're gonna build like this big photo platform. But then like as I said, we took more photos, and we even like met Kanye, and then when we took the Kanye photos in Paris, that's what kind of like blew us up a bit more. And then
he like called you over.
Yeah, like so I was in this club. This is just after he dropped Yeezus, and it was like a bin chill party, like when they were doing the whole bin chill thing. So it was like,
and there were 70 DJs on 3 computers, and nobody knew how to work any of them. Yeah.
So I remember
bin chill well.
Yeah. I remember seeing like Virgil play off of an iPhone once.
It's so next level.
Yeah. Whoa. He really deconstructed DJing, said all of us can now understand it.
Yeah, he's the master quotes.
That's right. Yeah. It's a quote concert. Unquote. Yeah.
Then I remember like even like the whole like bin chill, like the sound bite thing. I used to think that was like the coolest shit in the world. Like just hearing that, me and friends used to go crazy when just hearing that. So yeah, we were like in Paris, and it was Fashion Week, but I didn't even know. I just went to Paris. It was like one of my first times going, and then I just went there, and then everyone's like, "Oh, there's this party going on." So all right, cool. I'll come through, going to this party, and then Kanye was there, but he wasn't like even sitting like high on like a pedestal or anything. It was literally sitting like on the main like ground floor, like right where the people can like basically throw a bottle at his head if they wanted to. Just saying.
If they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, someone like, oh, Kanye, je suis dickhead. Yeah, and just like dash your bottle at his head. So.
You'd be a terrible security guard. Have at it.
Yeah, go
Kanye's right there.
Yeah.
Come on, take the shot. Take the shot. So we're in the club, and then like, I'm trying to remember. He was like sitting, but then he'd keep. I think when he goes to the toilet, people like follow him just to like get pictures of him while he's like coming back out. So he'd keep doing that. People keep following. Then there's one time where he went through this back way, and then people all thought he was gonna come out the main toilet door, but he came through this back entrance. So then he was back at his seat, but everybody was like where the toilet was, like waiting to get these photos. And then like I was the only other guy on like the dance floor, because I was like, okay, Kanye's here, but I wasn't like, oh my god, Kanye's here after the. I was like, Kanye's here, that's cool. Then I see him and we're both like looking at each other. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna say hi. So like I reach out, then his security's like, no, you can't touch Ye. And then Kanye's like, no, cool. So he let me come by his table, and then we're chilling. And then I was like, oh yeah, congratulations on Jesus. It's a good album. You have a daughter now. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Sick. And then I'm just there, like, then the music, and everyone's like looking at us thinking like I was gonna do something. I'm just there like, okay, all right, well, this is cool. And I was just like, all right, cool, it's nice to meet you. Then before I left, I was like, all right, can I just have one photo of you? He's like, all right, cool, sure. Then like taking pictures, he's like smiling. Then when I like asked him for like the proper photo, he like does his thing. When he was like mean Kanye, when his face was just like all the time.
When he was just like, smiles don't translate through history or whatever. Yeah.
So he was doing that exact face, and then took the picture, said bye, left, got the road developed the next day, put it out, and then the photo just kind of blew up that same week.
Did you ever have anybody who did not want their photo taken?
I remember taking a photo of partynextdoor, like wanting to take a photo of partynextdoor, and then he like put his head down so not to get his face. So I'm like, oh.
He's so mysterious.
Yeah, I'm like, well, okay, partynextdoor. Yeah. I'll go to the next party then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Let me think. Partynextdoor. Yeah, well, Bryson Tiller, I think it was like some BBC radio thing, like DJ Semtex. He invited me.
Shout out to Semtex.
Like he invited me to the BBC to like take pictures of like Bryson Tiller. But then when Bryson got there, he wasn't really trying to take any photos. I was like, all right, that's cool.
Again, very mysterious.
Yeah. So during this time, how did you explain it to your parents, and what did they think? Were you like, so I have a Tumblr, and I put pictures on there, and I traveled the world to do that, and they're just like, what?
Yeah, like, my parents, they've always been supportive. They didn't quite, let's say they didn't get in the beginning. It was more of a thing of, okay, that's cool that you're doing this, but how are you like sustaining yourself? Like, you're spending this money on these flights to go take these pictures, but you're not getting money from it. So how are you, self-sustaining yourself? And then
did they understand clout tokens?
No, too old for that.
Do they understand likes?
Yeah. I was like, look at these likes, mom. Each like, it's like 0.1 percent of the national currency. We're gonna flip it into bitcoins and then.
Where's the E in Tumblr? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so they were like, because like my family, they've always like, they never like, like there's some people whose like family like pressure them into like being like, the obvious like doctors or lawyers, but my family, they were never like that. Like I was always doing media. Like I was actually like doing acting at one point too. Like I was gonna be in Skins. Like I was like
really?
Yeah, like I did like they had like this like open casting thing for like the next season. Like season 1 to 3 were like the best seasons of Skins, and it started like trailing off. So there's like open casting, and then I made it to like the final round. But then, like, I forgot, like, one line on the script. I think it was, like, the word fuck or something like that. I literally forgot that one. Like, I knew the whole script, like, and I read it, like, the day before. But I just forgot that one line. And then it was like, oh, that's cool, but nah. And then that was my dreams of being an actor. Like,
damn.
Were you nervous going into the casting call?
No, because it was just, like, they'd, like, put us in groups. And it was like all these different like kids, so then all put us in groups, and then somebody would kind of like walk around and then just observe like how we interact with each other. Then they'll give us like a scenario, and then I was like funny, so like I'll just like make a joke, so like I overreact, and then they were like, okay, cool, we like you. Then they'll give me like this paper, and they'll tell me to come the next week. Then like it's like a interview process with like all the tiers. So then I was like the final tier.
Oh man!
And then you cried your final tier.
Were there any parties that you got denied at the door and couldn't get into?
There's definitely has been. I'm trying to remember.
I remember when Jeff and I first moved to the city, we got invited to a birthday party deep on the west side, right? And there's no trains down there. It's something where you have to get off at like, on
Like 7th
Broadway and
Avenue,
just
yeah.
like walk all the way over. And we were so green, we were so new, and it was like Dress to Impress or something like that. So we're just like, well, let's go to the Maximum here and dress in 3-piece suits. So we walk in these 3-piece suits on a really, really, really cold night.
Also, we were on the subway.
Yeah.
So you can tell we're very important.
That's
in our
right.
3-piece
Yeah.
suits.
So we walk over there. It's like rainy and cold, and we stand outside, and we see the people whose birthday it is, the people that are, quote unquote, our friends.
Yeah.
And we stood outside, did not get in, and we're like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, we were like the dorm, like to the doorman. We were just like, "We are on the list," and they were like, "No, you're not. You are not on the list."
And we said,
"You dorks in 3-piece suits."
Yeah, let's go home like the noobs that we were. So yeah, it didn't happen for us.
You know, I've definitely been like, I remember being rejected to go into a party for wearing a tie-dye T-shirt. Like the guy was
because you wore a tie-dye.
Yeah, the guy was literally like the guy was literally looked at me and was like, "Come on, man, you're wearing a tie-dye T-shirt." And I thought that was the coolest thing at the time. But like this is when like I didn't know the difference between like a club, like let's say like a One Oak, and a party, like just like a random party. So I thought I could just like get into any like club, just wearing what I was wearing. And then obviously that's not the case. I was like buy bottles and tables and like, pretty girls. And I was coming with like 5 or 6 like nerdy guys.
Yeah, and a camera.
And a camera. And so like that's when like I like kind of like stopped going to like clubs because like I realized that's not really what I'm into.
And you're like, instead I'm gonna throw the parties, and I'll be able to get in anytime I want.
Yeah.
What was the first party that you threw?
First party that I remember throwing was maybe my first London party at the Ace Hotel in London, because they have like this basement where they throw parties at. And you know, like Skepta, he performed at a party, his brother JME performed, and Ferg was there too. So that was like.
And you had already known Ferg. Did you know Skepta as well? And JME?
Yeah, like I'd known them for a bit, because like Skepta, when he was like going to Paris, like when like when It Ain't Safe came out, like I shot the cover photo for that, like him and Barry. Like I took that cover photo and I shot like half of the video as well. Like when
and then your laptop got stolen, and then you couldn't edit anymore.
Yeah, Kanye's cousin was like trying to pay 250 grand for it. Yeah,
so when you throw a party like that in London, do you get any like guff from the police? Because
those parties, like those early parties, no. But like when we started throwing bigger parties, like last year, we did like 1,000 cat party in the summer at this place called Overspace, which is, that party was fine. But it's when we did like Coco in Camden, which is obviously like a big like venue, like it's a historic venue, like that's called the Camden Palace. So it's like a proper historic venue. So when we were doing that party, that's when like we realized how difficult it was with the police, because we always heard about shows getting like pulled. Like I remember, you know, like rappers like Giggs who would like have his show pulled hours before the doors even are open.
That's so fucked.
And then, you know, for us, like with certain acts that were on, that we booked, and we like sent it off to get cleared, and they got taken off a day before the party. So we were like scrambling around, like changing over the acts and stuff. And I remember like we asked them, because like Baka played at our party from like, you know, OVO from Toronto, and like he's been in like jail and stuff.
He's not nice.
Yeah, he's, you know, nice. So like he's done stuff, like, you know, I don't necessarily know he's done, but I think he's done stuff which would warrant him not being able to perform at the party. But they were literally like, we don't care about any of those American acts. It's these British guys that we're after. And so people have not really done anything bad, maybe just a couple lyrics or so. They're like, nope, we don't want these guys. They could be a threat, and then just got them pulled.
So do you have to like give them like a certain period of time heads up to actually like establish that these are the people who are performing, this is the crowd that's coming, or something like that?
Yeah, like you normally give them like maybe like a month to 2 weeks like notice, but I'm saying they don't tell you until the day of or the day before the event that this guy can't play. So they just like fucking you over basically. So it's kind of like, I mean, like I was quick to like find other people, and then, you know, most of my parties sell out before we even announced the lineup. So that didn't really affect us that much.
Right.
Then,
people aren't upset that,
yeah,
you know, random act here didn't show up.
Yeah, because like I feel like with our parties, it's kind of like people know that someone might come out. So they're just there for the thrill. They're just there knowing that someone's going to come out, other than, okay, let's wait for the lineup, see who he has, then start booking tickets. Just kind of the vibe is there. And then, we've been doing the parties like a couple years now, so people know what to expect and know what they're going to get out of it.
What was the first time that you actually felt like, oh my God, like we sold this thing out?
I think it maybe would have been that Overspace party last year, just because like I don't really do that many parties. That party was probably my in London. That's probably my fourth party in like 2 or 3 years. So like doing that and then 1,000 cap venue, like a big giant warehouse, thinking, damn, that's crazy. And then the next day saying, okay, do you guys want to do Coco, which is like 1,500, and then going from that to that and selling that out as well. And I was like, wow, these are like, because like we've done other places like Tokyo and all those places, but like when it's like your home turf, like being able to sell out shows like an act, because like Coco is like a concert venue pretty much. It's not really like a party venue. You can throw parties in there, but that's where like I remember seeing Kanye do Coco after he did the Brit Awards, the whole like Brit Awards thing. We had like Skeps and everyone on stage.
Yeah.
And then he like literally announced like the next day doing a free show at Coco, and then like everyone scrambling to get there. And then he brought out like Vic Mensa, JME, Skepta, Theophilus London. Like,
so that was like the all day time.
Yeah.
I remember when Kanye did Coco in the bathroom at the place that you had been in Paris. He kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
So like just being able, that venue is like a very like legendary venue. So being able to like sell that venue out as like a photography brand,
crazy.
So that was when like everything was kind of like wow. And then from then I've just had the drive to kind of do things like, not to say bigger, and just like make it a moment. That's why us being in New York and doing this like party that we did with Boiler Room, like 1,600 people. It's like our first time probably doing anything out here.
Great energy in the building.
Selling it out, from the acts, having those acts, and it's all the way in Queens as well. So that was like pretty cool.
Okay. For anybody who's wondering, I've still not had lunch.
This is the update.
I've still not had lunch. Not that I have not still had lunch.
Jeff, would you be more apt to have lunch if people bought a mug?
Yes, that's why. I can't have lunch until you buy a mug because
You're on strike.
I'm on strike and I'm so hungry. Just please buy a mug. Please.
Guys,
I don't want to die.
this isn't a favor. This is life and death.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to start singing In the arms of the angel, fly away from here. In the arms of the
Go to itsthereal.com/shop and help out your local hip hop sketch comedian. If you love Jeff, get that mug, get that mean mug today. And now back to Ciesay of places plus faces. What was the first piece you did in terms of your merch?
First piece we did was this hoodie that was reflective and said places, faces on it. And we literally only made those hoodies more so as our business cards rather than actually trying to sell them. Like we thought we'd make these hoodies, and then when we were on stage like taking pictures, when the crowd's like taking photos of like the acts and stuff, like when like they flash and then the hoodie reflects, they'll see places, faces, then go into our Tumblr, then see all the pictures that we take. But then my friend had a boiler room in London, and I made like 15 hoodies. That's when I was about to sell. I know actually there's this girl that wore it. She was like this model, but she was like super pretty, and everyone was like, wow, that hoodie, because complimented the girl. So we were like, oh, that hoodie, we need that hoodie. So I spent like £300. That was like my only £300. Made 15 hoodies, was gonna put them online to sell. My friends like, oh, we wanna wear this boiler room, it'll be crazy, like live streamed, all of that stuff. I was like, all right, cool. Gave it to my friends to wear. We all turned up sweating, going crazy, mosh pits everywhere. Then the party was done. I was like, yeah guys, I need those hoodies like to sell now. And they would literally look to me like, come on bro, we've like bled in these hoodies. We trying to sell them. We're like, damn, that's like my last £200. But I had to borrow money from my friend, and then made another 15 hoodies, and then those sold, and just reinvested that back into making more stuff. And then from there, started with hoodies to like, I guess in a sense, collection. So it's been pretty good.
Were you also selling those hoodies like overseas and stuff?
Yeah, so like we were just mostly online. So like we had like, so yeah, first like it was the UK because that's where we're from, and then when we like traveled to more places, the exposure we got, you know, like I remember when like Wiz Khalifa wore one of our hoodies, and I think that was one of the things that like propelled like the clothing side to even bigger, because like him, that's when he was dropping songs like We Them Boys.
Oh man,
yeah,
that song was like super big. And then
how did it get to him?
I had a friend who has a brand called M Plus RC. It's like a French brand, and he had met Wiz prior to that. Like I think he met him in LA. Like his friend, no, Wiz wore his stuff. So when Wiz came to Paris, he told my friend to like just come link him at some radio station thing. And then I was in Paris as well. My friend was like, "Oh, you should come through." So I came, and then I met Wiz there. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, you know, I have this brand called Place of Faces." And then luckily I had like a hoodie in my bag. I just gave it to him. And he was like, "Yeah, come to my hotel the next day. Let's hang out." And that was like my birthday as well. So I hung out with Wiz on my birthday.
You spent your birthday with Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah.
In his hotel room?
In his hotel. Well, yeah, we started off at started off at the hotel room. He was wearing, like I got there and he was already wearing my hoodie too. So then we started took some photos of him on the balcony. And he was cool, and then he had like a whole press day. So like I followed him around, and he was just wearing the hoodie throughout his whole press.
That's so dope.
And then he would like tag the hoodie and stuff. And then,
he's the greatest, yeah.
Yeah, it was such like a cool guy. Like Wiz was definitely like one of the early guys that was like an early support of the brand, and he helped get the brand to a certain level of success.
Yeah. Where are some like very unexpected places that you've seen it like without any of your involvement?
Before we went to Southeast Asia, it was like heavy in Southeast Asia, like Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, like all those places. And then when we check like what countries have bought, like I know like before we had like a presence like in Africa, I know like Nigerians would buy a lot, even like people from Dubai and stuff like that. This is like without us even going there or having any connection to those places. And then now we've been there, so now we've established those like connections, so people buy more. But even before, like we were just at home thinking, oh, we have an order in Finland or an order in Dubai, in Kazakhstan. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Borat.
It was all your mom. It was all your mom, just you know, ordering stuff too.
Exactly.
Changing her IP address.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna show my son some support.
How do you feel about supply and demand? Do you
as like an economic
do you want to
model?
Do you want to have a very like limited collection of pieces, or do you want to like anybody who wants one, we're gonna keep making them and shipping them wherever? Because like there's this thing now, obviously like pop-ups over the last couple of years.
Keep everything super limited.
Exactly, and it creates this like heat around something, and it's like, well, I got one of those, and now I'm gonna line up and I'm going to make sure that I'm at the Garden and not even watching Travis like on stage. I'm just going to stand online getting merch the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the limited approach for us has been working, especially with like the pop-ups, because, when we do the pop-ups, especially, because of like my traveling background, like I just like the opportunity to travel places that I wouldn't necessarily have gone before doing what I'm doing, like Japan was always somewhere I've always wanted to go. I remember when I was in university and I was watching How to Make It in America, and then I remember like in season 1 at the end, it's like when they had that order from Japan, and then the season 2 starts with all these pictures of them in Tokyo and all that, and I was like, damn, I really want to go to Tokyo.
You're like that's success.
Yeah, I was like watching like Tokyo Drift and all these movies, like even like Kill Bill, like Japan was like my like wow, if I ever go to Japan, like, it's gonna be amazing. And then when I had the opportunity to, like, I just like, fuck it, I need to go to Japan, and then went there, did the pop-up. And then from that, it's just been like going to all these places. So like with the pop-ups, we've been to like Dubai. We were just in Lagos like last week. We've been to.
Did you use the Instagram filter Legos?
That filter sucks. How do they like? I don't understand. Like, how do they name like the filters? Like, why would a black and white filter be attributed to Tokyo when Tokyo is like a city of like colors
Right.
and lights and stuff? I don't understand how
people are lazy.
Yeah, like Tokyo.
Yeah.
Lagos. I'm like, okay. But yeah, Lagos, Tokyo, South Korea, like Seoul.
Well, wait, which city do you think should have a black and white filter? Probably like New York.
New York,
Mm.
maybe like Russia as well.
Mhm.
This is like
Russia's not a city.
Moscow.
Yeah,
St.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are like brutal cities and landscapes. I think in black and white they look cool.
When you approach designing your merch, do you look at it with your photographer's eye, or do you consider yourself more of a clothing designer now, or what?
I never really like want to use the word designer because I just don't. Not to say I don't feel like
It's on your shirt.
Oh, designer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that's the
Yeah.
rapper.
Yeah.
No, it's the Zigner.
Right. Yeah.
No, when it comes to like design,
Are you a clothing director? Like,
it's just like for us, it's we just like make things that we would want to wear, and then if people like it, then they can buy it. If not, it's still what we would wear.
Yeah.
So in that essence, I guess it is designing, but like I don't want to. That's why we call it merch rather than a clothing line, because it's not the main focus point of what we're doing. We start as photographers, so we always want to paint that picture of us being photographers, and the merch is like the clothing is just merch to our lifestyle. Like an artist, like we don't necessarily call Travis Scott a designer, but he has his merch, so it's just like
They're signed to the same label.
yeah. Good.
Have you ever been bootlegged?
Oh, hundreds of times. Wow, the bootlegs that I've seen in like, especially in Southeast Asia, I always get like sent these pictures of like just reworded riffs of our logo. So
Faces and places.
no, even worse, that would be like places plus EDM. Yeah, or like places spelled like PLAECES or something like that. Yeah.
Yo, if anybody can send me any bootleg versions, I'd be very down for this.
Oh, I've actually seen like some good bootlegs where like I look at something, I'm like, damn, did I make that? That's pretty fire. Interesting.
So wait, do you bootleg the bootleggers?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
should.
smart.
You should.
Yeah.
By the way, you grew up wearing S. Kurdars or something like that. You know.
Exactly. Grow up in this bootleg world.
Yeah. Let's go back a couple of years. When you start making the merch, do you see that as a proper way to really like turn it into a business?
Yeah, I mean, when we started like making a bit of money from it, when Place Faces like even started, like even within the first 2 years of Places Faces, even when we had the merch, like Souls was still working at like a supermarket, and I didn't have a job at the time, but I was just always like finding ways of making money legally, and it was just
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
and it was just like. Then like the merch started doing its thing, and then we got to a point where it was like, okay, cool, you can stop working at the supermarket now because it's becoming like a business where we can sustain ourselves off it and able to afford to keep contributing to this lifestyle. And then making one hoodie is cool, but then one hoodie is not going to pay all the bills. So then okay, let's make a t-shirt with that, let's make a cap with that, let's make some socks, let's make some underwear, and then that's how everything's coming like a collection, and then it builds, and then there's more income coming in. So.
Did you understand that you had to put more money in to get more money out?
Yeah, like I learned that as I was doing things, because like I remembered when like we used to like ship all the clothing from my house, and then it got too small. But then my friends were like, you should get an office. I'm thinking, no, I don't need an office. I can just do everything in my house. Like, why am I going to spend money on rent to pay for this office and stuff? And then I ended up getting like a small space, but that space got small. Then I had like two spaces, but the space got too small because there was like, we were just putting more into the clothing, like spending more to get more. Like when people would say to me, oh, they'd spend like $50K to like produce collection, I was thinking like 50,000. Wow, like why are you spending all this money? But like now, it's like 6 years later, I'm starting to understand that you do have to put in money to get more out of it, because you can't put 500 and expect to get like $1 million from it.
Right.
If you put 50,000, then you could make $1 million from it. So it's just all about having that drive, just knowing how much you want to put in and what you're comfortable with. And I think that's like.
And how did you figure out how to price your items? Did you look to other things around the internet?
Yeah, like I looked at other brands, and then I just looked at as well. Like I remember like going into the Bape store in London, and then their t-shirts were like 90 to 100 pounds. I'm thinking, damn, I can't afford that. I don't want to spend 100 pounds on like one t-shirt. So then I was looking at, okay, if I make my t-shirts like £50, then a kid can afford to buy 2 t-shirts, or maybe like 1 t-shirt and a cap and maybe some spare change for like socks or something. Because like, you know, our stuff, even though we keep it limited, we still want it to be like accessible for everyone, where like anyone can afford it, and just being able to, because, you know, when we do our parties and stuff, we want to see people come to our parties like wearing our stuff, because when we do things, it's kind of like a culture thing, and it's like a moment. So I kind of want everyone to feel like they're a part of this thing, rather than thinking, damn, I just spent all this money on this one product. Like, I know like things now are like super expensive, like, you know, like the V-Loans, that's like t-shirts for like 150, 200, but they have the culture for that. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be like a hood Raf Simons, and that's the price point you have to do. But as for us, we just want it to be something of like easily accessible, still limited, but at least someone doesn't have to like sweat that they just spent all this money on one product. So.
Yeah, I saw that the Off-White IKEA collaboration.
The carpet,
yeah, and like kids were like lining up for like $1,000 carpet. What's a collaboration that like came your way that maybe wasn't right for the time, or that you know you might want to pursue in the future? Like, what are some collaborations that you'd be interested in?
Like the way Places with Faces, for me, it's like a story, it's like a narrative. So everything we do, we always want it to be of Ciesay and Souls started from this, and now here they are at this point, and this is what they're doing at this point of their lives. So, you know, like what I mean by that is that cool Places Faces, we started off doing this, then we did a collab t-shirt with like Anwar Carrots, who's like similar, and he's
Shout
a cool
to Anwar.
guy.
Yeah.
Then now, you know, we've done a collab with like Gentle Monster, which is like a sunglasses company, who I never knew anything about that brand. My friend was like, yo, this is a cool brand, their stores are cool, they're based in Korea, South Korea, they're like cool people. So I researched it, I was like, okay, this could be cool, this could help me elevate my presence in Asia, and then also add to the narrative that Places Faces did a sunglasses collaboration. You know, they just got invested by LVMH for like 70 million or something, like a shit ton of money. So they're doing their thing. And then, you know, even with like the Guess Jeans collab, shout out to like Nikolai, like I met him 2 years prior to us doing the collab, when they did their first collab with Ciesay Rocky, and then they did a pop-up in Selfridges, and we stayed in touch. Then we always like floated the idea around, but we didn't like go straight and say, okay, let's do a collab. You know, it's like 2 years of us talking to each other, hanging out, seeing each other around, and then me looking at us like, okay, cool, I'm in a comfortable position with my brand where I don't feel like I'm doing anything to jeopardize it, or it might look like it's a money thing, like people will look at it as like a genuine relationship between us. So we came together, did this collab, everything was, you know, done, curated by us, in sense of like we picked the models, we picked the locations, it was costed by like people of our age range, so it doesn't feel like everything was just kind of like, you know, marketed to be this, you know, weird thing. It was just kind of like, okay, cool, we get to express ideas and use guests to make better products and use what they have, and they use us in terms of getting into more of like the younger audience, and it's coming together and doing what we're doing. So
can you do a Brexit collaboration called No Places and Faces?
No Places, no
yeah.
But then you know, even with like the collabs now, it's that like clothing is cool, but I personally feel like we have enough clothes in the world. Like if every clothing company shut down today, we have enough clothes to last us. So I don't really like.
Well, then what do you think is next? Like, we do mugs. Yeah.
Well, that's why I want to do more lifestyle products too. So we've made mugs, we made like, you know, even with like the sunglasses, that's like something that's not necessarily clothing, but it's still an accessory to have. Like we've done the incense, we've done
you guys do the bags.
Yeah, we've done the bags, and we even done like furniture as well. We did a collab with like Medicom, who are known for like the bear bricks, but then they also have like this like other line that they make like furniture. So we did like a whole like chair and like set with them. So I want to do like more things like that, where it's like everyday like home products they can use, even like a toothpaste holder, like something that you're not really thinking of, but it's still like cool to
rocking
have.
Horses.
Yeah, you know?
But I think to that point too, we respect the fact that you guys create a moment that no one else can, if they're not there, just get.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what we always feel when we do our live shows. You have to be there, and if you're there, the experience is something that you will always have. It may not be a tangible piece of clothing, but it's very special to that.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're creating with the Boiler Room stuff and other events. And I could see that obviously getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, we started off taking pictures. Then from the pictures, we made merch. Then from the merch, we started throwing I started DJing because I just wanted to listen to the music I listened to, and then people started booking me as a DJ, and I started throwing my own parties. Now we have our own magazines because, we just wanted something people can hold on to physically that they could look through and just kind of see, again, our journey. Because with the magazine, people think, I guess a lot of musicians in it, but we don't necessarily call it a music magazine. For us, it's more of a traveling magazine because when you're looking for the mag, you'll see Gambia, Lagos, Tokyo, Korea, all these places that
New Jersey.
Delaware. Yeah. all these places that we've been to, and we just want to just like I said, I keep saying it, Piss Face is like a story. It's like a film. I studied media in school.
You're a storyteller.
Yeah, so I just want to keep telling the story that this is just this journey of myself and souls who, I don't cliche, came from nothing, but came from a situation and made a better situation of our lives, and we just continue to grow and keep doing things that we like, that we think is cool, that sometimes might not work in the first time, but maybe 2 years later we come back to that and then it works then.
How far do you work out, in terms of events and stuff? Do you plan things for 2 years in advance, a year in advance, a month, a week? Is it day by day?
Hour by hour.
Yeah.
I'm just going to announce another part today.
Oh, yeah. Right
on. Minute by minute, you're just living a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah,
just Fast and Furious.
Tokyo Drift.
The events, there's things, I started getting into the flow of planning things ahead, because normally I plan things like a month in advance, or even when we're releasing clothing, I'd give if I was to send it to a press site, I'll give them the day before and think, it's coming out, the next day. Why can't you post it today? We need time. So now, I didn't know these things before, but now I know that, to get certain things done, you have to plan it in advance. Right now we're working on an event in London that we want to put on next year, but we're doing things this year to help elevate that event for next year. We're planning ahead. So we're doing these events and then going to these companies sponsors, but listen, we want to do this event next year, so come to these events now, so you can kind of get an idea of what we're working towards. And even with this Boiler Room thing, we've been talking to them for about 3 months, and obviously the first one's come about. Then I'm already working on for parties that are going to happen in the summer and in September, all these festivals. So we're having a nice run of things, whereas before I used to be okay, cool, I want to do a party in 2 weeks.
Yeah, seat of your pants.
Next week, yeah. It's just kind of growing and learning how things work, and then just kind of being around people who do things and learning from them, and just just getting the right flow of things.
What's a moment that you can think of where you were like, man, things are not moving as fast as I want them to go?
Besides this interview.
Not fast as I want it to go. Okay, cool. So we're working on a G-Shock collab, and with them, we learned from them that it takes a year for them to even get the stuff made. So we've we're signing the contracts, all of that stuff, everything's cool, but now we have to wait a whole year to even
roll it out.
Roll it out. So that's kind of one of the things where it's okay, cool. We normally when we think of the club, we want that churned out in 2 to 3 months. But now we kind of understand there has to be a wait. There's production times. There's all of these things. So there's been things even when we've released clothing where we think it's a super hot thing. When we put it online, everyone's this is sick. But then when we finally release it, it doesn't really sell that well. And then we don't look at that as a mistake. We kind of look at it as okay, that's just a lesson. And you know what?
Well, what do you learn from that?
Just maybe it's not the right time for certain things, because that's not how the world has shifted yet. That's not what people are into. For example, if we made incense 5 years ago, people might not have bought as much as they're doing now because we didn't establish ourselves as those type of people. If we were made a T-shirt, they made an instance right off the T-shirt, people would be like, oh, what's this? What is this? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you've gone too far left too quickly.
Right.
So it's more now people have seen what we're doing and the collabs that we've done and just the things that we're into and our interests. So now people kind of understand that we're not focused on clothing or just one main thing, that we just want to do anything and everything that we can. So then people are more invested into that and then are like, okay, cool, we see what they're doing. This is not too left for them because they've done this before, they've made these things before, so we kind of see what they're doing with this.
You're somebody who travels a lot. Your barber, I imagine, is in London.
Yeah.
What do you do when you have to get your hair cut and you're on the road?
Sometimes I don't even have haircuts. But you know what? A barber that I used to go to, he got deported. So I have to find a new barber. My friend told me, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get my hair cut. He was like, oh, the barber got deported, right? And I drove past the store and I noticed he wasn't there. So I was like, damn, he really got deported. So now it's just like...
Well, where did he get deported to?
Back to his home. I think he's from Congo or something.
Maybe you have to travel there.
Set up an event in Congo? Just do it every 6 weeks or whatever.
That would be super dope. Yeah.
6 weeks in Congo. For the cuts.
Yeah. Places and Faces is a known entity around the world now. Do you still consider it to be a South London brand?
Yeah, I still consider it to be a London brand because that's where the roots are. Even technically we did start in New York. It's
a New York brand.
It's a London brand. I mean, do you consider Slick Rick a New York artist?
I consider Madonna to be a London artist,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or MF Doom.
Yeah, we could trade people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the location draft. It's not as funny.
Right.
But yeah, it's still a London brand because that's where we're from and that's where we get the most love from. London is where we get the most love from, and it's just even though it's London, I call it an international brand, just in the sense of that it is everywhere, and I want people to know that the roots are London, but I still want people to feel like it's where they're from. There could be a Place of Faces is Japan side of things, or Place of Faces India side of things, and they're all building. I have these fan accounts where it's literally Place of Faces Indonesia, Place of Faces Kenya, Place of Faces South Africa, and it's just cool to see all these communities all taking the Place of Faces name and still aligning itself with our brand and reposting our things, but then for their communities of people so they can see, they can show their cultures, what they're into, but also
That's very cool.
My favorite thing going on in London right now, there's a YouTube series which is the worst.
But the best?
Yeah, but it's a guy who walks around and he says, what are you wearing? And then you have to say, I'm wearing these trousers, a rack,
just,
these, I got my Nike trainers.
I got these joggers and they're
150,000 pounds.
Yeah. About, five racks.
So because we watched the Drake episode, which the accents in that are all over the place.
Canadian
everybody's,
accents? So funny.
It's so crazy, and everybody's wearing an OVO fitted, a rack.
Yeah. So Jeff and I are walking down the street and we're just because we're blessed to get a lot of gifted stuff, right? So we're just my trainers free.
Yeah.
Warby Parker custom lenses free. I got my this designer hoodie
by Ron Lewis
free.
Yeah.
The Prada joggers. Yeah. Free.
Joggers.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. Have you ever seen those guys? Have you ever done that? Have you Do you watch them?
I know who the guy is.
My hero.
Yeah.
Because he's like been making like YouTube videos for the longest. Like he's been to like a couple of our pop-ups and like reviewed our pop-ups. But like I guess this thing about the fit thing, that's like a new thing. And I've only seen like the Drake one and some random like one where this girl was wearing the trashiest outfit, but I think she had like a 25,000 pound like earring.
I saw that one too. Yeah.
What?
And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I love it.
I don't know if I could ever like go on like one of those. Like I just be like, oh, yeah. These pants.
Yeah.
Nice.
A rack.
A rack. My Tron accent. Yeah, it's a stock fan. Yo, this watch on my wrist, dog. It's like 25 G's.
Sheesh.
Sheesh. And yeah, everyone in the back was going. And there was that one guy who was like, yeah. So this Oreo T-shirt. Yo, how much they even go for these days? Oh, $50.
Yeah. Are there any photographers that you're really paying attention to these days?
Like a lot of the photographers that we like, a lot, like our friends who are like similar to us, so like Gunnar Store.
Shout out to
like,
Gunnar.
Gunnar's like amazing. Our friends from like Dubai, Cheb and Chindi, they're like literally exactly like myself and Souls, but just like the Middle East version of ourselves.
They're the tethered version of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. They're the burnt to Middle East, tethered in the sun version of ourselves. Let me think. Who else? Cheb and Cindy. Who else? Huh? Oh yeah, Ellie from Toronto. He did a lot of stuff with like The Weeknd, and he did like behind the scenes photos of Black Panther as well. So like those photos were dope. Wasim, he's like a Night Level's tour photographer. So like yeah, all of these like photographers who like we just admire photographers that are similar to us, because I'll tell you this story. I met Chimodu when I first started Place I met him in 2013. I was with like Bass and his people. Then we went to this restaurant.
That's our dude.
We went to this bar, and this guy was like, yo, do you know who that is? I was like, no. I was like, oh, that's Chimodu. I didn't even know who that was at the time. He was like, oh, he took those legend pictures of like Tupac, Biggie, all these people. I was like, oh, they're sick. So I went, like, spoke to him. I was like, yeah, I'm a photographer just starting up. Then I was like, oh, that's a sick camera. Like, how much was it? And he was literally like,
a rack.
more than you can afford.
Whoa.
When he said that to me, I literally, like, in my head, I was been on like a vengeance mission.
Yeah.
It's like, I can afford these things.
Yeah.
And so then,
you turned into like Kill Bill Volume 3.
But also, you don't even need a nice camera these days, because all you need is that Cupertino filter.
That's right. Yeah.
Put the Legos on, put the Tokyo on. Stack them all.
Stack them all up.
Put some impact font over it.
Yeah.
All of that. Raise like the contrast. Like,
yeah.
100%. Yeah. And but yeah, so ever since then, I just never looked at photographers that were older than me. Just always looked at my peers, because we're like, those photographers are cool and they've done what they did, and I respect their work, but now I want to show my documentation of what I've done, because the pictures that we take now, in 20 years, some kids are gonna be like, wow, those photos of Travis or Kanye or A$AP at this party or this event, those were the pictures of the 2013 to 2025.
Super dope.
Yeah.
Super dope.
We've had a bunch of people from London and from the UK on here. We've had Michael Dappa on, Man's Not Hot. We've had Ella May. So, I mean, like, there's like a lot of people. Who do you think is somebody who we haven't had that should be on our radar, that or that has like an interesting story besides Souls? God.
You should have like JME.
Okay.
Like Skepta's brother, just because he's like such a character. Like, this dude is like a genius. Like, I remember when I was growing up, and the business ventures he was doing, like even like little things where he had like a boy better know SIM card, and then you just like make like phone calls over, you can buy it. And then I remember when he had these caps that he'd sell for like 160 pounds, 0.87 pence, and people were like, that's such a high number, very specific. And it's like, yeah, that's how much it costs to fill up my tank in my car. And then he just like, but people will buy that stuff. It was just like a super funny, like, cool guy. He doesn't even have like an Instagram, or he doesn't have no social media. All he has is a Twitter that he just blocks people on. He doesn't even follow people, and it's just like, like she's just like a name. It's just a cool guy. So like I definitely think like if you had Jamie on the show, that'd be cool.
Okay, I want you to be 100% with me. As I hope you've been this entire time.
Yeah.
Unless this has been like all lies, and I have no
lies.
way of checking that.
Exactly.
But okay, should you ever do an event in Brazil? If there's any opportunity to bring us into that event, like to bake us into like some auxiliary, podcast thing off of it, whatever it is,
we'll give haircuts.
I love commenting. Come to Brazil. If I can come to Brazil with you, I would really appreciate it.
You want to come to Brazil?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to host?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Every guy's hosting the party.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've stood on couches before. Yeah.
whatever gets us to Brazil.
I know. Yeah.
So I
Why
can
Brazil,
just
though? It's like
because you know how like the fan accounts of like Katy Perry and Lady Gaga, they all say like come to Brazil.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that now for about 6 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And I feel like I need to get the full circle moment where I get to actually come to Brazil.
Yeah.
So let's all go to Brazil.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. I actually really want to go to Brazil. I've had those messages too, like come to Brazil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They're all from me.
Yeah.
Damn well. I mean, I didn't know the Upper East Side was Brazil. Maybe it's Little Brazil or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
What more are you going to do while you're in town?
Hit Times Square, go to Sbarro.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Not sleep?
Not sleep. No, just I don't know, just hang out, just, chill.
Yeah.
I don't know, get the proper like American experience. Go uptown.
Yeah.
Get lost.
You are uptown, and you are lost. Don't you see?
Get lost in like Far Rockaway or something like that.
Not uptown.
That's down. There's exactly thinking that's uptown, but then going somewhere completely different. Go on the Williamsburg Bridge or something. And
Where's the most lost you've been in a city?
oh, Shanghai. That place is like the worst.
And what'd you do?
Just walk around until someone finds you.
Yeah.
That's literally like actually Shanghai. No, Ottawa in Canada. That place. Wow.
Was not expecting that.
I know. Yeah.
Because this is what happened.
Shanghai. Oh no, I'm sorry, Ottawa.
Like Shanghai is like I didn't get lost in Shanghai. I just felt like I could get lost in Shanghai because like they've like banned like Instagram and all these like social media accounts. So it's not really easy to like hit someone up if you're lost. So it's such a big city too. That's crazy.
What about like Google Maps or like a mapping app? A map app.
I don't know if Google Maps is allowed there. Like you'd have to like find something that does work, but that's if you have service, and like you'd have to buy like a Chinese SIM and all that. So it's a process.
And then you're on the grid.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they didn't know who you are.
Yeah.
It's like taken basically.
But Ottawa.
Yeah, Ottawa. This is because so I was on shrooms.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was on
That's a good caveat.
Yeah.
And then we were going back to the hotel. The hotel was literally, we're in a cab, and it was like 3 minutes from where we were. And I literally just hopped out the car. I was like, oh, I just have to walk around. And I was like, what? I just have to walk around. Then I gave like Souls my phone, and then I just told him, go back to the hotel, I'll meet you guys there. And I probably came back after like 3 hours of just me walking around. Like I remember I sat on like this wall in front of like a Nando's for like 30 minutes just watching people walk past. And then I was literally said to myself, okay, I'm gonna pretend. No, I'm not gonna pretend. I'm gonna like, how were people living before like Google Maps and all these things? So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna put myself in a situation. How am I gonna get back to the hotel? So then I was like, oh, do you know this hotel? And he was like, yeah, I think it's down that way. Take 2 rights and a left. So I did 2 rights and a left. And I was like, oh, I'm lost. So I just went back to where I was. And like, do you know the place? Oh, no, you have to go left, then right, then 2 lefts, then another right. Okay, cool, I did that. Then I realized that was the wrong thing. So I just kept walking in circles. Then these like random kids who like, I guess were a fan of the brand who knew where I were. They were like, oh, Ciesay, what you doing? I'm just trying to find my hotel. Oh, we'll take you. So then I'm like literally following these kids like Peter Pan. Just trying to find where this hotel is. And then, after 2 hours, everyone's like, where the fuck are you? Blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to DJ in like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah.
Is there
Okay,
any...
wait. Before we do that, what was your experience in all of this?
Literally.
Also introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Souls. I'm the other co-founder of Place with Faces.
You might have heard his name dropped a few times. Yeah.
I'm from East London. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
Is East... Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
East London versus Southeast London. What are we talking about here?
I prefer East London because I'm used to the East London culture.
Damn.
Hipsters are.
Everyone, I feel like everyone's
East
cool.
London is
Just
like
cooler there.
Shoreditch.
People just cooler, I
Dalston.
think.
Yeah.
Shouts to Shoreditch.
Yeah.
Shouts to all our people out there.
we did a show in Shoreditch, so yeah.
So like during that whole experience, like we were in the Uber. I was basically with another friend called Chris Skylark. He's a photographer as well. So like, shout out to Chris, yeah. So that whole like he literally just randomly just left the Uber and started walking around and gave me his phone. And I was like, oh my god, what is he doing? Like we were literally. Basically, the Uber took us to the hotel we were staying. So we were like, okay, where's Ciesay? We were like, oh man, let's look for him. We were walking around everywhere looking for him. I was like, yo, there's no way to call him because I got his phone. I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? So like randomly, we were like, oh shit, let's just go back to the hotel and see if he's there. And out of nowhere, he was at the hotel just chilling.
Wait, did you know that he was on mushrooms?
I didn't know he took him, but someone told me he took him. Like, okay, yeah, he took him afterwards. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know at first.
See, here's what I believe. Here's conspiracy theory, Eric.
Conspiracy theories.
I think that because you were on shrooms, you imagined this whole thing and you were standing outside the door the whole time thinking it was the toughest club to get into in Ottawa, Canada.
I imagine you weren't in Ottawa the entire time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You were in Shoreditch.
I was in Gambia the whole time. Just in Gambia listening to Get Rich and Die Trying.
Exactly right, yeah.
With my S-Stock haters.
Yo, Ciesay, congratulations on an amazing run so far. We're extremely excited to see everything that happens in the near future and the distant future, and really excited to come to Brazil.
Oh yeah.
So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you get some sleep while you're in town, and we'll talk to you soon.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for having me. Enjoying my time here, and yeah, thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening to this new episode of A Waste Time with It's The Real. If people want to find out more about us, I'm Eric, curly hair, that's Jeff, glasses, together. We are It's The Real, no apostrophe, no spaces. If people want to find out more about this podcast, which is called A Waste of Time with It's The Real, not A Waste If Time by It's The Real, which I saw was done by our biggest fan.
Fitz the Real?
Not Fitz The Real.
Damn?
Not Dan.
Our mom?
Not Mom. What's his name? Not Ed. Whatever, I forgot his name now, so we're even. Yeah. A Waste of Time with It's The Real. Jeff, if you want to find out more about what we have going on in our lives, Jeff, where can they go?
You can always go to itsthereal.com, itsthereal.com. We have a podcast.
We do.
A whole real podcast. I know you're thinking, hey, my friend has a podcast too. Guess what?
Your friend doesn't have a podcast.
No. Well, not one that people listen to anyway. We have a podcast, and you are listening to it. You can find it anywhere that you want to listen to podcasts. I'm talking about iTunes and Spotify and CastBox and Google Play.
Yeah, SoundCloud.
All of the places that people listen to podcasts is there. Tell your friends. Go listen to that instead of your actual friend's podcast. Also, you can find us on social media at It's The Real on Twitter, at It's The Real on Facebook, at It's The Real on Instagram. We also have other podcasts called Two Jews and Two Black Jews Review the Movies, where we sit around and we review movies with the locks.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, and again, it's real. People listen to it.
That's right.
And
Subscribe.
You tell your friends to listen to it.
It's got its own feed, so go there. Don't wait like you've been waiting forever to find it in between all these A Waste of Time with It's The Real episodes.
Also, it's the end of the episode. I still have not had ramen or pho. I would like some ramen or pho.
So go buy a mug.
Go buy a mug so I can afford some ramen and or pho.
Itsthereal.com/shop. Anything else, Jeff?
Follow us on Twitter so that we can talk about documentaries.
Follow us on Instagram so we can, do some more lives and you guys can jump in and ask us questions.
Yeah, but that's talking about like our brand or whatever. Like, let's talk about documentaries over at Twitter at It's The Real, or you can follow Wale and let him know where he can get some good ramen.
As always, not for real, for real.
For sure.
We'll see you guys next week.